I'm Yoko, and thank you to my Patreon supporters on screen. It's been a while since one of these, and I'm changing things up a little bit. So if you haven't seen the past ones, I'm drawing Pokemon as humans with a semi-randomized way, including the gender of my designs being rolled on the Pokemon's in-game gender ratio. Every 10th Pokemon is also a shiny version design. And in the past videos, I was only doing 6 Pokemon per video, like a Pokemon team. But I want to do more designs and also guarantee a shiny in each video, so this video has 9 in it, but future ones will have 10 of them so that the last design will always be the shiny design. Really hoping to make this a more consistent series because I really love these and had a lot of fun drawing all of these. So let's just hop into our first design. Bellibolt, which I actually drew twice because I lost the first speed paint. He was rolled to be a male design, and Bellibolt is a rounder Pokemon, so I tried to put on some weight on the guy for the shape. But I do think it got a bit lost with the hoodie he's wearing. I did just slap the false eyes that Bellibolt has onto the hoodie, but I did debate headphones, but I thought that might be overused. I didn't want to, look at too many designs to get too accidentally inspired by other stuff and then just end up copying stuff. I wanted him to be sillier and thought this was cute. Bellibolt has little stubby arms and no real hands, so he has his hoodie covering his hands very cutely. No bias here. I definitely don't have hoodies that cover my hands because I am tiny. The hoodie is also only zipped at the top with the rest open to show his undershirt, which I drew the pattern of Bellibolt's belly on. I patterned the jacket like Bellibolt and gave him orange shoes. And I put a bit of yellow at the bottom of the jacket to balance out the yellow in design, and I just thought it looked better. And that's Bellibolt. He's very friend-shaped, and since I redrew him, here's a side-by-side of the old and new one. I think I improved, and it's fun to see. On to Pokemon number 2 in the video, which is Ariados, and she rolled to be a girl, and I had so much fun with this one. I tried to include the illusion of Ariados' horn, and fangs with a white necklace choker thing, fang-shaped earrings, heels, and nails. Little white accents wherever I could. While Ariados only has 2 eyes, I did make her eyebrows more dot-like in the illusion of more eyes, and I gave her yellow and purple striped leggings, sleeves, and a head wrap of some kind, to look like the legs of Ariados. If that type of head wrapping has another name, please let me know. I am horrible with fashion terms. I tried to shape the dress like Ariados' body shape, with the bust area being like the head of Ariados and the skirt poofing out to be like the body. I put a black waist and a top border to also go into the sleeves that includes Ariados' banding. And of course the 2 dots on it, as well as making her hair black and adding some lipstick. More calling back to spiders, I added a spiderweb pattern to the top of her dress that connects to the neck, and that's my Ariados, and I think she's gorgeous. Ariados is just a fun Pokemon with lots of colors and shapes to get inspiration from, and now on to the third design, which is Ampharos, that rolled to be a male design. I went electrical worker of sorts with the design, sticking with the type of jacket that I've seen. It honestly fits a lot with Ampharos' vibe anyway, yellow and black bands. Ampharos doesn't really have grays, but that's fine. I gave a white undershirt for Ampharos' belly and thicker yellow pants with black and red pockets, worker type of boots, and a helmet with a red light so I could reference the jewels on Ampharos' head, and also how they are lighthouse Pokemon. I gave him a bigger hooked nose in reference to Ampharos' face shape and debated if he should be bald, but went with some white hair in reference to Ampharos' Mega, where it would be much longer. Side note, I don't have any Megas or Gigantamax Pokemon in this series as of now. Trying to get a lot of the base Pokemon done at least, but I may add them as options after I finish the designs of the line that they're attached to, but who knows. Here's Ampharos. I like him, but I think he's a little hard to talk about when I was winging his design with things that I didn't 100% know how to do. I also think his posing is a little bit awkward. I was trying to make him lanky and tall, but I'm not sure if I pulled that off right. But I hope you like him. Now on to the 4th Pokemon, which is Binacle, and a male design rolled to draw. I was a little stumped with how non-creature shaped the Pokemon is, being 2 heads sticking out of a rock and all, but then I got the idea for drawing 2 younger brothers, one being younger than the other, and the signature pouting cheeks, puffed up face that Binacle has, more defined forehead eye ridge shapes instead of the normal eyebrows, and very angry eyes. And I thought it would be cute if I put them in those full body types of swimsuits where they were on a beach trip and they were misbehaving it seems, so their parents put them in the get along shirt, colored like the rock that Binacle are stuck in. Which, side note, probably don't do that in real life. I heard it isn't that great. But it does make for a funny concept for a human version of a two-headed, grumpy pre-evolution Pokemon. I know the deck says when Binacle fight each other, they move to a different rock, and this is kind of the opposite of that concept, but it's fine. I gave them spiky hair to try to look like the claws that Binacle have, though admittedly I do kind of keep thinking of Johnny Test when I look at it. Someone add a whip sound effect in the background, I guess. But I also added orange bandages across their noses, and I think this turned out super cute for being based on a generally not as well-liked Pokemon. I want to pinch their cheeks, but moving on to the 5th design, which is Bounsweet, which is a Pokemon with a 100% female gender ratio already, so this design is a girl. The design of the Pokemon itself is very simple, so is my design. She's just a little toddler, and I gave her pigtails shaped like Bounsweet's top leaf stuff, including the Ahoge for the stem. I love her blunt bangs, I think they're super cute, and I basically put her in a pink poncho with some white frills at the top, and with what I think they're called bloomers underneath, since the underside of bloomers is more fluffy looking. I didn't give her shoes, and this seemed like a kid running around chilling at home, so it's just in socks. And that's really it! Bounsweet is just a little circle of a Pokemon, but I do think my design ended up pretty cute, and I hope you like her. Moving on to the 6th Pokemon, we have a mythical. Celebi rolled, which is super fun. Used to love the Celebi movie as a kid, and Celebi has an unknown gender ratio, so this is a non-binary umbrella design. Though apparently in the Mystery Dungeon games, there have been a boy and a girl Celebi. Design-wise, I was inspired a lot by Tinkerbell, giving them a similar top to their outfit, but added a lighter wrapping in the middle that turned into bottom shorts instead of the dress that Tinkerbell has. I added some blue frills at the bottom to spread out that accent color more, and originally my first concept did just straight up have fairy wings, but I adjusted that to the final version to make a slightly see-through part of the outfit on their hips instead. They have lighter green tights that also have a blue gradient at the bottom, and I added vine-like wrappings connected to their top, looped around their arms, and I styled their hair like Celebi's normal head, so sorry you kind of have onion hair. But I added some loose bits at the bottom and 2 strands of bangs that resemble the antenna that Celebi has. I also, of course, had to give them dark eye makeup to resemble the dark rings around the Pokemon's eyes. And I don't think I've ever actually had a Celebi in-game. Mythicals, am I right? Hard to get. I was kind of flaky on events and also never really played Pokemon Go, which is an extra shame because I can never really be able to shiny hunt this Pokemon. But here they are. I think the design is adorable. Forever think that they should have changed the fairy type, but I know Nintendo won't change a mythical Pokemon. But hope you like the drawing, and on to the next one. The 7th, which is Cinderace, and the design was rolled to be a male one. Will we ever get a female starter design? We'll see. Cinderace is a soccer rabbit, or football for anyone outside the USA. Sorry that I'm going to call this soccer. So I gave him a soccer design, which is also kind of what the gym uniforms in Sword and Shield were going for, I believe. So I basically did a modified version of that. White tank top with the head design on the chest and dark blue borders, and loose red shorts of a similar pattern to the Pokemon. Honestly, Cinderace is already borderline a person in an outfit. I did add the number of Cinderace's decks on the shorts similar to the numbers that the gym leaders have in Galar, and I gave him cleats as well as something on his legs. I don't know the name of them, but it was specifically inspired by Bokuto from Haikyuu, but I looked it up after and those don't go all the way down the legs, so who knows what he's wearing. I added a jacket that he'd probably throw off to go play, but I styled it at the end to be a bit poofy and add some spikes there to make it kinda look like Cinderace's tail. I had to keep Cinderace's eyelashes so he's a pretty boy, and I added a headband that's dividing his hair in a way that the bottom looks like the cheek tufts, and the top looks like the ears as well as Cinderace's actual fur tuft that it has. He also has some yellow highlights in it, and I had to have some buck teeth peeking out since, you know, rabbit. So here he is. Let me know how I did as someone who doesn't know sports like at all. I did watch the first season of Blue Lock. That's about it for my soccer knowledge. And I did my best. I struggled a bit, but on to the 8th design, which is Claydol, another Pokemon in the gender unknown ratio category. So non-binary umbrella upon thee again. I gave them an outfit that was looser at the top and wrapped around their neck a bit, but sleeveless. I need to learn fashion terms, I swear. I think I just made this outfit up. I don't know if this exists anywhere. But it's a round, poofy outfit that goes into shorts at the bottom, and they have a white belt-like thing around the center with yellow beads hanging. The thigh area has the pattern that Claydol has on it, and the shoe situation is very strange, admittedly, but I just drew Faulkner, and he had kind of similar shoes, but it just didn't keep going up. So it's slightly based on that. No idea how those work. They have skin-type gloves around the palm, but they poof out in the ends into a more round shape to more resemble Claydol's little arms. And I gave them a giant hat to add that point that Claydol's head has, and had red circles and yellow beads hanging off it to be like Claydol's eyes and the pattern situation they got going on. Also added some earrings to resemble that as well. They have big red eyes, though one is partially covered by their bangs, and I gave them black hair and a swooshy bob. Though their eyebrow is white because I thought it stood out more and looked really cool. Though maybe that means their hair was naturally white and they dyed it black. But yeah, here's my Claydol. I really love them considering I was indifferent on the base Pokemon. Hope you like them, and on to the last one, which is Combusken, and we once again lose the minority role on the gender ratio for starters, so this is a male design again. It's also the shiny design of this video, and that being said, Combusken isn't the best shiny, but we roll with it. I gave him a scarf that was supposed to resemble Combusken's arms and the claws at the end, which I then had his actual arms having no sleeves. I also made him a bit buff, but I think I probably should have focused more on the legs instead, but you know. I styled a shirt to be a vest-like thing that was scruffy at the ends and had the hint of something orange underneath, which was kind of just to show the difference between normal and shiny Combusken. The orange there is the normal color that the red in this is. The posing kind of hid this, but I wanted him to have those big, looser shorts like Toph from Avatar, kind of. Though in the end, he kind of reminds me more of Natsu from Fairy Tail. Might be the scarf and the fire relation. On the same Toph logic, though, that's why he's barefoot and has those gray cuffs on his legs. I gave him blonde hair, but it's dyed with his eyebrows being a darker color, and the tips of his ponytail are red, so it looks more like the feathers that Combusken has in its design. I actually really struggled on this dude, and it took a while to find a concept that I was okay with. The scarf idea really helped, but yeah, here he is, the final design of the video. I actually don't have a shiny Combusken or anyone in the Torchic line yet, so maybe that will change this year. Which design was your favorite? Let me know. I have a goal to get more of these out in 2026, so here's hoping I'm able to. I had so much fun coming back to this series, and I'm interested in Gen 10 whenever that's coming. I am convinced that we are getting information on that in February on Pokemon Day. Leave your predictions below, but don't mention the leaks. I don't want leaks in my chat. But it's been so fun. I want to yap about Pokemon more. Thank you for watching, and I will see you probably next week with Galaxy Clan's Year 30 Family Tree video. Peace!